Are you ready for what's coming? The clock is ticking, and the countdown to the next potential disaster is just around the corner. But what is it? And why should you care? The answer lies in the very ground beneath your feet. Come with us as we explore the secrets of the San Andreas Fault Line, uncovering the mysterious dangers that lurk beneath the surface. Trust us, you will not want to miss this before next month. Chapter 1: The Beginning. The San Andreas Fault, also known simply as the SAF, is the fault that gets the most attention worldwide. The San Andreas Fault System is located in California, United States of America. It runs through densely populated regions and garners a lot of attention whenever something takes place in those places. Whenever there is an earthquake, whether it be the terrible one that occurred in San Francisco in 1906 or one of the less destructive ones that have occurred more lately, the SAF receives substantial coverage in the news. As a result, a significant number of individuals are at least familiar with this fault system. To get a better grasp on what the SAF is, it is necessary first to have a solid understanding of what a fault is. A fault is a split in the crust of the earth that occurs when its two halves move in opposition to one another. There are several distinct categories of faults, the most common of which are convergent faults, divergent faults, and dip-slip faults. A strike-slip fault, sometimes known as a transform fault, is what the San Andreas Fault is classified as. A strike-slip fault is characterized by two sides of the fracture moving in a direction that is horizontal and parallel to the direction of the fault, and parallel to the direction of the fault. Both sides are moving along a horizontal path, passing one another. To provide an even greater level of specificity, we can say that the SAF is a right lateral transform fault. This indicates that if two people were to stand on either side of the fault, they would observe the other person move to the right. Chapter 2: The Geography. This significant crack in the crust of the earth can be found in the far western part of North America. After following a path that is more than 800 miles long and heading in a northwesterly direction from the northernmost point of the Gulf of California across Western California in the United States, the fault eventually makes its way into the Pacific Ocean in the general vicinity of San Francisco. Tectonic movement along the fault has been linked to occasional large earthquakes originating near the surface along its path. These earthquakes have included a terrible disaster in San Francisco in 1906, a less serious incident there in 1989, and a powerful and destructive quake that was centered in the Los Angeles suburb of Northridge in 1994 that occurred along one of the San Andreas' larger secondary faults. All of these earthquakes have been associated with tectonic movement along the fault. Based on the plate tectonics hypothesis, the San Andreas Fault symbolizes the transformed boundary between two major plates of the Earth's crust, the Northern Pacific Plate to the south and west, and the North American Plate to the north and east. These plates are separated by the San Andreas Fault. During geologic time, the movement of the plates relative to each other has averaged approximately 1 centimeter every year. Nevertheless, the yearly rate of movement has increased to between 4 and 6 centimeters per year since the early 20th century. During the earthquake that occurred in 1906, certain sections of the fault line moved as much as 6.4 meters. The San Andreas Fault is home to the vast bulk of California's population, which is concentrated in its immediate proximity. There are settlements, villages, housing projects, and roads that have been built directly on top of it, and a tunnel for the Bay Area rapid transit system has been bored straight through the fault zone. The construction of buildings that can absorb seismic shocks and the strengthening of roads and bridges to withstand the effects of earthquakes are examples of the preventative steps that have been taken. On maps, the SAF is frequently depicted as a continuous single line. This is done only for simplicity's sake, even though it is not accurate. In essence, the SAF is the origin of multiple branching faults, each of which contributes to the formation of the complete system. Observe this map of the San Andreas Fault, and you find that there are a few thinner black lines that actually show some of the branching faults that come off of it. These branching faults can be found in many places. Take note of the location on the map of the tectonic plates where the North American plate and the Pacific plate share a border. The San Andreas Fault is caused by the border in question. Chapter 3. How dangerous it could be. It is crucial at this point to have an understanding of the operation of the San Andreas Fault line. As is common knowledge, the fault line marks the meeting point of two tectonic plates, namely the Pacific plate and the North American plates. These plates are continually moving and shifting, and the friction that they cause when they come into contact causes tension that over time builds up. An earthquake results from the rapid release of this tension in the Earth's crust. The fact that the San Andreas Fault line runs through a highly populated area makes it an especially concerning fault line. The United States Geological Survey estimates that more than 39 million people are living in the state of California. A significant number of these residents call cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego home. These cities are all situated very close to the fault line. If a significant earthquake struck along the fault, the property and human lives that were lost as a consequence could be considered catastrophic. In addition, researchers have shown that the San Andreas Fault line is capable of creating earthquakes that are significantly more severe than what was previously believed. In the past, geologists were under the impression that the fault might trigger earthquakes with a magnitude of up to 7.8. On the other hand, new research has demonstrated that the fault is truly capable of generating earthquakes of a magnitude of 8.0 or higher. An earthquake of this size would be extremely disastrous, resulting in widespread property destruction as well as the loss of many lives. In addition, the San Andreas Fault is not the only fault in the area. There are other faults as well. Several additional significant fault lines can be found in the state of California. They include the Hayward Fault, the San Jacinto Fault, and the Calaveras Fault. If any faults were to rupture at the same time, the ensuing earthquake might be one of the most catastrophic natural disasters in recorded history. All of these faults have the potential to cause severe earthquakes. The fact that the San Andreas Fault line hasn't had a significant earthquake in quite some time is another cause for concern. Almost 160 years have passed since the fault's last big earthquake, which occurred in 1857. This indicates that the fault is due to a large earthquake, which could take place at any point in the future. Chapter 4. Rescue Plan. As we have told you, earthquakes are unpredictable. There are steps that you can take to stay safe in case of an emergency. The first thing that you should do is to prepare an emergency kit. This kit should contain first aid supplies, non-perishable food, water, flashlights, and a radio. The next step is to secure your home. Identify any potential hazards in your home, such as loose shelves or heavy objects that could fall during an earthquake. Creating an evacuation plan is also essential. Identify a safe place outside your home where everyone can meet in case of an emergency. And one more essential thing to keep in mind is to stay informed about local news and emergency alerts. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of danger. The San Andreas Fault is a time bomb waiting to explode. But don't panic. With the right knowledge and preparation, you can increase your chances of survival. So, take action now and subscribe to our channel now for more informative videos like this one. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section down below.